show being modest. Now it's grams of the wax for my conscience. Brian James in LA, you're on college. I've been jumping on them planes like a hobby. Still moving with the pack like my partners. Just the John on them jets cause we wildin'. But the bowl is a party on the island. Moment of silence. So good, get back to the topic. Grew up, it was me and Flocka. Grandma's and Big T, this my mama. I ain't even for the pain when my pots flipped. Knew his name, that's it, never bothered. Mom said, you the man, son, you got this. Ever since I found a way to go and pop shit. Hold up, blaze through a whole zip. Took a seat at the table of my first flip. Days in red roof for my first whip. Split the money with the gang, never post pics. Seen a change in the game, had to coach it. Never let them take my wangs in the mold, bitch. Ever made in a month, nigga. Used to serve him at the minute just to front, nigga. Goddamn. Had to grow up quick, I made my own rules. Had my first child, got it jumping with music. Can't really hang with nobody who losing. I thought by now that you would go and get it, but I could hardly see niggas this distant. Know you get cropped if you not in the picture. And I made that tag and went got a bag. Shots to the Henny and OG prescriptions, put rebel shit on the map. Took a leap from where I started at. Started ballin' now I'm Chris Paul and Cass. Got him steady calling for the mold, but I'm on a roll, gotta call him back. And that's all fact.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. All carry-on items should now be stowed securely, either in an overhead bin or under the seat in front of you. All aisles, exits, and bulkhead areas should now be clear. All electronic devices should now be turned off and stowed, as they may interfere with the aircraft's navigational and communication systems. Once airborne, we'll let you know when you may use approved electronic devices, but note that some items may not be used at any time during the flight. You'll find a list of approved devices in the in-flight information section.
All right. Welcome everybody to another edition of Hot Program. I'm your host with the most, all the way from the East Coast, and as always, good people, I am in airplane mode. Whew. All right, I think my one black friend is taking the day off. I was a little bit late in getting going, but yeah, I'm gonna go in here and just handle this by myself. So I guess y'all stuck with me today. Man, I don't even know what to say, y'all. But we're gonna talk about it. Basically, this came to my attention. I actually think Kyle dropped this to me, so thanks, Kyle. And you know, we're gonna talk about this Shane Condi video. Basically, it's going around that Epstein may have been inspired by the Virgin Mary. I don't know. We'll see. It's kind of tough to really take religious motivation and inspiration from these people seriously, but maybe that's the case. But for me, Shane is going to really get into why Christianity is for real, just a manifestation of rape culture. And I think it's absolutely right. It's good to call it out. We've talked about it on the channel before, so we'll rehash some of the things that we've discussed. But, you know I put on the thumbnail, and it sounds kind of provocative for me to say, I don't care. But part of what I'm really realizing in this moment of everything going on in the country and everything that's been going on politically, socially, and particularly around Christianity, is like it's Sunday. I don't know what to tell you. It's like I don't know what to tell you. It's like Christianity. This is what it is. This is what it is. Is what it always has been. And anybody that knows me or knows about this channel or knows how I get down understands that we're about bringing Christianity to an end. We're about looking these people in the face, telling them this bullshit fairy tale isn't true, and really exposing to them also that it's evil. But at the same time, you have to recognize the culture that we live in. This country was started to be on some Christian cult bullshit. And it has been since the beginning. And the religion was used to justify colonialism, slavery. And again, what do y'all think slavery was really for real, like for slave families? Again, we know about the traumas that our people went through. We know how much our women were raped. We know how much certain founding fathers and key historical figures raped our ancestors. And you still put them on the money and celebrate them in our face every day, all the time, and tell us we got to love them, that we got to think of them as the fucking heroes of civilization and all this other shit. So it's like people are just not serious about Christianity. Again, it's too big to fail. So you're going to have to come back to me when you're actually ready to do something about it. You're going to have to come back to me when y'all are actually ready to handle business. You're going to have to come back to me when it actually fucking matters. So let's go ahead and jump into what she's saying. Appreciate y'all. Thanks for being here. Wayne, good to see you. Wayne, damn. Oh, you got a coworker that runs a church. Ooh, that's real unfortunate. I don't even know what to say anymore to people like that. Like really, like for real, when I see these people and like they're just super into the church like that, it's like immediately my brain just goes to like they're not a serious person. Like they're just not a serious person. They're not legit. Like, you know, and if I need to have some empathy for them, it's like, yeah, they were probably raised in a cult. Like Satan's little helper. Satan's little helper, so good to see you. Motherfuckers don't know. They don't know. Satan's little helper's one of the OGs. It's one of the OGs from way, way back that's been around for so long. I appreciate you. It's so good to see you. Hope everything's well. Hope your family's well. Hope the job is going all right. It's just great to see. Great to see you. Hillwood, good to see you. Good to see you. Of course, PC. Best mod on YouTube. X is in the house. Modded. Look at the trees. Hey, look at the trees. I had to teach my students about the argument from design, like Paley's teleological argument in my evolutionary theory class, my Darwin's Law class. So I was explaining to them that we call it look at the trees. You know, it's really called the watchmaker argument, but look at the trees is so much better. All right, y'all, let's go ahead and jump into the Shayna video. I got a lot to say, but I'm going to let her get going. And of course, I got here's the tab. There we go.
Watch this video, then we'll talk.
Jeffrey Epstein sent this, like the Pope article, now reading how God exercised improper power dynamics with the Virgin Mary, no consent. Jeffrey Epstein learned it from God, and so did we. Every victim in the Epstein file is the Virgin Mary, and not because they are pure and innocent, but because we've been taught that their body's pain doesn't count. Christianity's inability to sit with the troubling complexity of Mary's story has made it a training manual for how to not see grape, how to erase what happens to women's bodies, how to only count the suffering that doesn't threaten male power. This is the pattern that founded this country. The founding fathers raped and had children with enslaved black children. Jefferson with Sally Hemings was 14, about the same age as Mary when she conceived Jesus. One story we call holy and the other one complicated, a relationship, a liaison, anything. But one story with Christianity's inability to sit with the troubling complexity of Mary's story has made it a training manual for how to not see grape, how to erase what happens to women's bodies, how to only count the suffering that doesn't threaten male power.
She said a lot there, and I want to go back just to hear for y'all to hear that part again. How to only count the suffering that doesn't threaten male power. I've been really diving deep into this because it's heavily related to my work and what I teach. And basically, it's a phenomenon I need to talk more about on the channel, but basically I've been calling elite class construction. But it applies in so many areas of life, and she's right when when she says like to only count suffering that doesn't threaten male power. That's huge. But it's the same thing with white supremacy. We can only count suffering that doesn't threaten white supremacy. Obviously, she's speaking directly to the patriarchy, but it also needs to be spoken about directly in relation to Christianity itself. In other words, we can only count the suffering that doesn't threaten Christianity. And that's why this is like, leave me out of this. Leave me out of this. Because this does threaten Christianity. And I can tell you as an evolutionary biologist, why is it that basically 70% of this fucking country doesn't understand that we weren't created? Why? Everybody in your head, you went straight to religion. You went straight to Christianity. You went straight, you know it's them. You know it's them. But why is that acceptable in this country? Because again, we can't ever talk about reality if that reality threatens Christianity. So until people decide that there is a bridge too far, until people decide that like we're really gonna hold Christianity accountable, we're really gonna deal with white supremacy, it just doesn't matter because it's a protected class of lies. It's a protected class of lies that keeps certain people privileged and in power. So it doesn't matter. But she's absolutely right. And this is how elite classes are constructed. What they do is while they are exploiting others, while they are gaining power, while they are taking over the system, while they are putting themselves in absolute control, nobody's allowed to challenge anything. Nobody's allowed to say anything. Everybody has to look the other way. Okay. And then once they've consolidated power, once they've saturated control, once they've got all the money, they've got all the political influence, they're the ones dominating the system. Now they allow for what you might call nominal or superficial criticism, right? Let's think of some examples throughout history that I talk about as relevant, like when I'm teaching. Think about the medical profession, right? The medical profession. Right? When it really, really started, who was getting trained to be doctors? It was white men. And then when they finally got organized and had to, have some ethics and some professionalization, of course, you get organizations like the American Medical Association or whatever, right? You get the birth of like organizations that are going to like license and accredit programs and do the regulations and all that stuff. Well, what institutions did they give that to? Right, of course, the premier colleges and predominantly white institutions that were everybody that was graduating was predominantly white men. Right. But then once the medical profession becomes saturated, once the medical profession becomes something that's very difficult to get into, once they've got it all set up and locked down, then all of a sudden they start thinking about, hey, maybe we should have let some women in here. Maybe we should have let some people of color in here. Maybe we should address the fact that only people from, higher class backgrounds are able to fund and support the type of, academic occupational journey that it takes to become a doctor, right? Only after they've already monopolized power is that acceptable. The field I'm in, anthropology, same thing. The history is of white men and white people leading the field, doing all the work, gaining all the prestige, being the ones to determine which cultures are worth studying, which questions are worth asking, whose research matters, whose voice is worth publishing, whose books are worth buying. And then again, once it's all the way locked down, once it's all the way under their control, then all of a sudden it's, oh my goodness, we talk so much about Native people. You think we should have included some Native voices? Oh my goodness, where are all the women? Oh my goodness, look at all the pictures in the department of all the prestigious anthropologists. They're all white men. Where'd happen to all the people of color? Why don't we have any queer anthropologists? Let's talk about YouTube, because it's going on right now in front of your faces on YouTube. It's going on right now in front of your faces on YouTube. It's going on right now in front of your faces on YouTube. Who gets to stay at home, work from home, have a good salary, have a high standard of living, fly all around the world on vacations, get brand deals, not have a real job, and still crown themselves the chief influencers, the thought leaders, the people you should be following, the influencer class? Who is it? It's happening in the 21st century. It's happening right now. I thought the world was a better place. I thought all us people that are worried about sexism and racism and phobia against queer people and discrimination, I thought we had our hair on fire. I thought we were going crazy over DEI. What's going on? I thought we had a black president. I thought racism wasn't a problem anymore. But you're watching it happen right in front of you. And then once they've got all the magic spoon deals, they've got all the ground news. Once they're taking deals with APAC, once they're getting the appearances on MSNBC so they can debate Pierce Morgan so they could go on Joe Rogan's podcast. Once they've got the industry locked all the way down. Oh damn, we should have let some women get in here. Oh damn, why aren't there any voices of color in this space? Fuck with me, y'all. That's my shit right there. Elite class construction. And that is what she's getting at, is that because you have to have this elite class and because they have to be protected, you're only allowed to trivially acknowledge the types of suffering that doesn't threaten them. That's why people love the animal shit so much. I don't give a fuck what y'all say. That's part of the reason people love fucking animals, because fucking with animals, saving the tigers, making sure that no wolf goes unhoused, all of that shit, that allows people to perform compassion. It allows them to perform care. It allows them to pretend that they care about the less fortunate and the innocent, while again ignoring the suffering of women, LGBTQ people, black people, any of the actual human concerns. Why? Because that would threaten power. That would threaten power. That would cause confrontation. That causing of confrontation would threaten their proximity to power. That confrontation would undermine their privilege. That confrontation would demand change. So we can't do that. We can't fuck with that. We can't do that. Talk about saving the tigers. Talk about global warming, right? Talk about curing cancer. All right. Don't talk about structural reform. And so that's the issue here. I'm going to let her go because trust me, what she's saying is fire. What Shane is going to say is fire. And y'all already know you wouldn't be tuning into this channel unless you already know what I'm going to say is fire. But trust me, she's dead on. And it is a very profound point that people need to think about. But it's not just about the patriarchy. It's about white supremacy too. And it's about Christianity in particular. God damn, my headphones are fucked up today.
This is the pattern that founded this country. The founding fathers raped and had children with enslaved black children. Jefferson with Sally Hemings was 14, about the same age as Mary when she conceived Jesus. One story we call holy, and the other one complicated, a relationship, a liaison, anything but what it actually is. Epstein didn't invent anything. He just carried on the torch. In 2013, Epstein commissioned this investigation into the origin of the Little St. James Island, which becomes the Epstein Island, to see if he can change the official name. The research came back and it was named after the relative of Virgin Mary. And he started calling it the Little Saint Jeff. 5 years later, he sent that text. He was studying Mary's lack of consent while enacting what happened to Mary on.
All right, let me read this for y'all. It says, liked the Pope article, now reading how God exercised improper power dynamics with the Virgin Mary. That's it. That's what she's talking about, y'all. She is really. Oh, you know what? He liked to send himself. He liked to send himself emails, y'all, which I can relate to. Join our Discord, link in the description. But I have there's a channel in our Discord that's called Pocket Locker Only. I don't even know if other people can see it. I know they can't access it or read it or anything, but I'm the only person. Me and the bots are the only people I have access to it. Because every once in a while, I just need to send myself a quick message. And I don't email myself, but I will jump in my Discord channel and send myself a message on Discord. But anyway, like, I think this is one of them emails to himself, basically, because it says the sender is self. But yeah, that's it right there, y'all. He says, like the Pope article, now reading how God exercised improper power dynamics with the Virgin Mary. Damn, that's indicting a Christianity.
The island bearing her family's name. This wasn't just passive cultural conditioning. It was conscious theological engagement. Where did he learn that a powerful man impregnating a young girl, especially one with no legal personhood, no ability to refuse, could be anything but grape? He learned it from Mary. We learned it from Mary. That when the man is powerful enough, important enough, chosen enough, what happens to her body can be called sacred destiny.
Hey, Wayne, I appreciate you persevering, man. Sounds like you got some neighbors looking out for you. That's good, man. But yeah, shit's been crazy. And I know a lot of this shit is popping off in your backyard, man. So, but yeah, man, holler at me on Discord or something if you want to catch up or just need to talk, man. But yeah, glad you're making it through. Glad everybody's pushing on. And for real, just another message that I've really been sharing with my students in this time. A lot of people, are really looking for, calling for, and feeling pressure for what you might call reactive resistance. Something happened, things have gone too far, the world is burning, the government's out of control. I have to do something. I have to go protest. I have to organize. I have to march. I have to riot, whatever it might be. But for a lot of us, what you have to do is stay the course. Sometimes resistance means not letting life or the world knock you off your path, so that when you get to where you're going, you are more empowered, you have more leverage, you have more autonomy, you have more options, you are operating from a place where you are much more effective to helping others. So for a lot of y'all, especially those that are on different types of occupational paths or educational paths, or just even have, notions of wanting to be in a different space and place in life, sometimes the most important thing you can do as an actual act of resistance is to stay the course. And again, for me, that was lived out when the George Floyd situation happened. And, I had people in my life, particularly like my mom at that time, and my PhD mentor, that were concerned for my safety, right? Because I think that their natural expectation was that I'm active, I'm involved, I'm not apathetic, I'm not one to sit out a fight. And so they reached out to me, concerned that like I would go out there and do something. And, they were just genuinely showing care. And I let them know that the only form of protest I'm interested in right now is finishing my PhD, right? Because I understood that less than 2%. I think the numbers are sometimes between like 0.8% or like 1.5% of evolutionary biologists are actually Black. I understood how rare of an opportunity it is to be a Black evolutionary biologist and get a dual PhD, become a researcher, become an educator. And I shared that with my students. And, I've had different students, like, especially one sent me an email about, how talking about education as resistance really meant a lot to them. So I just want to share that with y'all, that for some of us, I know it's tempting to get out there with your pitchfork and your torch. And for some people, that's what you got to do right now. Please do. I'm not saying that doesn't need to happen. But, hopefully y'all take that away, that for some of us, the resistance means just making sure you get to where you're going.
Participating in something larger than herself. This theological template for accepting predation became the template for political power, oligarchical power, and all of these systems required us to believe that certain men's access to certain bodies is just part of the natural order. The Bible was written by men in a world that treated women's and girls' bodies as available to male power. Whether the authors intended to justify the systems or portray the systems or simply could not imagine anything else, the effect is the same. We inherited Epstein's textbook, the sacred text that teaches us not to see violation as violation if the man is powerful enough. This is a 12 to 14-year-old girl impregnated by God who
But see, X, I think that's the problem. That's what she's talking about. She's talking about if the man is powerful enough, in this case, God, or if the story has some other aspect to it, it's holy or it's magical, then we don't have to talk about the violation of this young lady's body, this girl's body. And that's something that I think so many Christians overlook, and that's the problem. Trust me, the rape culture in Christianity is so fucking deep. But this whole Virgin Mary thing is really important. And I remember when I did actually deconstruct, it's very obvious. Also, like, you got to remember, the story is very clear, even in the biblical account, that she didn't want this, that she was terrified. But again, God's a monster in so many other ways. This is why, it's totally consistent with his character. But I'm gonna let her go because Shane is gonna get into that too. But yeah, Christians don't care about consent. I want to make sure I bring it up later. But this is one of the reasons why, I'm like, wake me up when y'all are serious. Because again, part of what we've seen in this whole era of white evangelical madness, and their sort of anti-DEI, anti-sex education, anti-biology, anti-everything, quite frankly. Because again, nobody wants to be real. Nobody wants to talk about the fact that these grown-ass people believe this fairy tale and they're in a fucking cult. And like I say all the time on this channel, there is no honest way to defend something that isn't true. And since there is no honest way to defend something that isn't true, we literally just let these people be anti-everything. And they have to be anti-fucking everything because, again, their religion requires a total divorce from and upholding of a world that just isn't true. So they end up anti-everything. But part of it is, again, how much anti-consent rhetoric do they have to spew from their own mouths before we go, yeah, that's a rape culture? They literally don't want us to teach our children about consent. I'll repeat, they literally do not want us to teach children about consent. That don't say it all. I don't know what you need to hear.
Says, let it be done unto me, when the power dynamic is a child versus the entire cosmic order. This surrender to overwhelming force is what we call holy. This is how we theologize predation, as sacred, as inevitable as the way things are. Her impregnation is this floating signifier of receptivity to male power, no matter earthly or divine. The only good woman whose body is untainted by sex and yet has evidence of sexual activity is Mary. And yet she experiences no sexual pleasure throughout her life because she has to remain perpetually virgin. Her pain, her tearing, her recovery from labor is fully erased. This mother of sorrows, her only acceptable suffering is emotional. Watching her son die at the cross. And even then at the cross, Mary is silent, sorrowful, and contained. What if she screamed and refused to make meaning, refused to witness silently, demanded that this shouldn't have happened to her body? And then there's the assumption where Mary doesn't even get to die. Her body just disappears entirely. What would Mary's story be if it was written by a woman?
And it's deep too, because it's like part of their message is that a holy woman is a pure woman. And that to have served in this capacity, she literally needed to have a life free of consensual sex, that she could never exercise normal human bodily autonomy. And so again, and again, it's not even just acknowledging or like knowing or hearing these stories. They worship this God. See, when I say things like Christians worship the monster, people think I'm being hyperbolic, I'm being mean, I'm exaggerating. I'm just trying to make people feel bad. No, I mean they worship the fucking monster. When we sit here and we tell this story about, oh my God, this God impregnated a girl against her consent. Yes, and it might be getting a little late. It's a little after 2 p.m. But let's just go back a couple of time zones. It's only 11 o'clock. It's only 11 a.m. in California. Americans are in church right now, all across the country, singing songs to this God. So again, y'all got me fucked up. Again, hit me up when you're serious. Hit me up when y'all are ready to end Christianity. But till then, don't waste my time.
World can we build if a young girl's body isn't required for the human and divine to meet? This isn't rejecting Mary. It is seeing her and asking, what happened to her body? What did pregnancy feel like at 13? What did childbirth do to her? Where is her rage, her fear, her bodily autonomy? Skipping over the body to get to the meaning, the redemption of every story of violation is how we learn to tell survivors that their suffering should have a purpose, that they should heal in ways that make us comfortable, that they should turn their violation into inspiration. Accepting that power dynamic wholesale, divine over human, enslaver over enslaved, billionaire over teenager, is how we learn as a society that women's bodies don't register pain for themselves, only for others. We are only here to watch, to witness, to never be angry, to help erase the injustice done to us. This is why we ask victims, are you pure enough? Did you resist enough? Were you too knowing, too complicit? Did you also say, let it be done unto me?
Yeah, and if that don't speak to what's going on with Nancy, hashtag what happened at NanoCon 2025, check out the playlist on the channel. But you know, it's the same thing. It's the same, and it's the same thing there. And to be honest, y'all, it's the same deal. It's honestly, it's why I'm checked out of the fucking atheist community. It's why because I realized that it's not just, oh, my friend was assaulted and that's a terrible thing. It's my friend was assaulted, that's a terrible thing. And the community doesn't give a shit. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Matter of fact, they just punished her sister for carrying forth her story. They just fucked up her sister's life for carrying forth her story. Then when other victims and whistleblowers came forward to say, y'all, this can't happen. We can't be these people. This can't happen in our communities, and really wanted to talk about what happened, they fucked them all the way up and ostracized them from the community. So, I mean, at some point, it's like, I'm not going to work my ass off to try to make a space feel safe just so they could use that as marketing so that they could harm more people. Again, I'm sorry, you have to show me that you want the help. You cannot help people who do not want to help themselves. I cannot care more about your safety than you care about your safety. If you are not fucking concerned that your space is unsafe, if you are not fucking concerned that your atheist ass might take your atheist ass to one of these fucking atheist conferences or fucking atheist conventions so your lonely atheist ass can meet some more fucking atheists so you can actually have some motherfucking atheist community in your life, and you don't give a shit that people are getting strangled and tossed down the stairs, what you want me to do about it? For real, what do you want me to do about it? And why? And if I'm supposed to be all up in arms and fucking losing sleep over, what about the motherfuckers that were actually there? How come the motherfucking witnesses aren't saying anything? How come the motherfuckers that's supposed to be part of the support system ain't saying shit? How come the people that she came to and told right away aren't saying shit? Why the fuck is her sister the only person saying something? Again, y'all don't give a fuck. So what do you want me to do? And it's the same shit with Christianity. Again, how many times are they going to tell us to our faces that they don't care? How many times do we have to see pastors move their... I grew up in a Catholic school. Tell me why we had Brother Redmond in our motherfucking school, this motherfucking priest, and as soon as this nigga shows up, we're like, why is he here? It didn't take more than a matter of weeks for students to figure out, I heard he got transferred here because he did some up shit at wherever he was before. Fucking around with kids. And what do you know? Just a matter of time before it was up, and now he's fucking this person, and now he's fucking that person, and now he's fucking around with this person. And then eventually he was gone. Off to the next location. Got too hot where he was, they sent him to us. Got too hot with us, they sent him to the next spot. Never, not once did anybody say anything. Did it get talked about, written about, acknowledged? Never. Not never. Not never. So when people always had that talk, all that talk in the fucking 2000s about all the scandals in the Catholic Church and all the shit that was going on in the Catholic Church, we was like, we lived through it. Anybody that came up, went to Catholic school when I did, you probably had the same shit happen at your school. I was literally watching that shit and be like, yeah, it happened in our school and they didn't give a fuck. And they did not give a fuck. Knew what the motherfucker had done in the past. Whoop, here's a perfectly good new body of children to fucking exploit. Oh, did you fuck up here too? Guess it's off to the next assignment. People don't realize at some point the church basically encouraged that shit. The church would basically say if you were fucked up and you're a fucking predator and you're not fit for family, hey, maybe you're fit for the fucking vocations. Nobody wants to talk about that, but they low key thought that like going and becoming a priest was like a good idea. Like becoming a priest was going to like clean up them fucking character issues you had that made you unfit to lead a family. So I just can't. And again, how many times they're going to tell us they're anti-consent? How many times are you going to hear a Christian woman talk about being abused, and yes, sometimes sexually abused, and yes, quite frequently raped by her goddamn husband? And what do they tell her? Nah, you can't divorce him. Nah, you got to stay. Why would you leave him? No, I mean, gang, there used to not even be laws against rape in this country for a husband. Why? Because her body belonged to him. She was property. I'm not talking about in biblical times. I'm talking about in modern U.S. history. The idea that a man could rape his wife and actually be charged with a crime is a very relatively new phenomenon in this country.
Files are out, but can we see what's in them when we've been trained for 2,000 years not to look at women's bodies at all? Do we still know how to look? I am Connie Chen, here to help you deconstruct everything. Check out my Patreon for bonus content.
Deconstruct everything. I do love that. I do love the channel. I do love the vibe. I don't have her link in the description or Shayna's. Yeah, but definitely hit the Shayna Condi button. Y'all already know we love us some Shayna Condi, and I love this creator. I think the Connie Chen, fabulous work.
This video, perfectly executed. I will be including the link to all of their information in the description. I would also like to say that while the issue of consent and child impregnation and grape, I hate that I have to censor that. We all have to censor this word on here. They'll have to censor so much on here while we're actively living through all of these things. Anyway, sure, Mary's story is...
Ooh, Kyle said, will they be bringing children in Nanocon? Probably, because again, think about all the sexy Nanocon. Part of cognitive dissonance is you gotta throw things in people's faces. So I'm sure they'll find a reason to do, the secular Sunday school for kids or whatever the fuck. And then AR hit it with because they want to be invited to NanoCon 2026 or the line. Damn, AR, is it really that transparent? Is it really that transparent? Because that's pretty much what we've been saying from the beginning. Shout out to Sumami. Even Sumami called it out. These people are just so afraid of losing their influence. And the funny thing is the only time most of these motherfuckers could even sniff something like 200 views is collaborating with the Apostate sisters. But yeah, of course, AR. They want to be invited. They don't want to be out of the circle of influence, and they want to be on the line. Fuck all these people.
The most is the biggest, most iconic story of this within the Bible. It is far from the first, and it is far from the most widespread. So, for example, I've talked about this a lot on here. Outside of the forced impregnation of a child that happened with Mary, the second most famous rapist was also David. When it comes to the rape of Bathsheba. Now, a lot of people I don't know how many people know this. I've yapped about this several times on here. If I could find the video, I'll put it up there. But David's, I think it's his oldest son, was also a rapist. Not just a rapist, but incestuous rapist, because he raped his sister Tamar. And if I remember the story correctly, the best case scenario for Tamar after being violently assaulted by her brother was that they sent her off to a nunnery. So that way she never had to look at another man again. And we don't know what happened to the son, really. I'm sure that there was some kind of relatively mild public shaming, and then life continued on. And then the pat on the back for Bathsheba, who was, David's original victim, was that she would give birth to so many children from the man that murdered her husband and raped her. And one of those children was going to be the wisest man to have ever lived, King Solomon, who from King Solomon would also be birthed, like from his line would be birthed Jesus. So I guess that's a congratulation. That's not the focus of this conversation. I want to talk about the Midianites. I want to talk.
Hey, Patty. Check out the NanoCon 2025 playlist. I have one. I think PC has one too, or I know PC has one. But also there's links in the description to support the Apostate sisters and join their Discord. So please do that as well. And Patty also has some excellent content on her channel that I think I should add your video to my playlist, Patty, just in case people want to find all that stuff in one location. But yeah, we were talking about how apparently Epstein was looking into the power dynamics as exemplified by the Virgin Mary. So basically saying that that he was inspired by he found that inspirational, God's ability to violate her consent. But yeah, so now we're trying to tie this to a larger discussion of rape culture in Christianity, and so that is why she is taking us to other parts of the Bible.
Talk about the extermination and mass grape that was ordained by the Christian God of the Midianites. So first, let's set the scene. There's 40 years between the end of Exodus and the beginning of Numbers in the Bible. So within that time
That's great to hear, Patty. Thank you.
The Israelites were freed from the ruling of Egypt. They were wandering the desert for 40 years. They were nomadic people. They forgot how to exist in a society, potentially from being enslaved for hundreds of years, but also you shouldn't have to be taught not to murder, not to kill, not to take people's property. And back in those days, your wife and children were also considered property.
Yeah, this is one of the things that I just don't even play around with anymore. First off, it's incredibly insulting to humanity to pretend that we had not figured out the basic rules of cooperation before the 10 Commandments. I mean, it's just, again, you have to be a fucking idiot, and you have to think that the rest of us are fucking idiots to pretend that we didn't know you shouldn't murder or steal or whatever. Second of all, the 10 Commandments suck. They're really not even that good. Too many of them are really just about stroking God's ego, and the rest are just kindergarten rules for how to get along. And I get so sick of religious people pretending that there's some sort of magical or divine wisdom in their shit when it's clearly just fucking nonsense. So all right, let's keep rolling.
So then Moses had to go up to Mount Sinai, I think it was, and then come back down with the 10 Commandments, which is basically just the rules of basic human decency, but also hey, follow this specific God. So important things to remember: a newly independent civilization and a nomadic people. Which then I was like, okay, so then what happened with the Midianites that would cause so much violence, so much deeply sexist violence. And here's what the Midianites, allied with the Amalekites, oppressed by
Yeah, me too,
Israel
Patty.
by repeatedly invading, destroying crops, stealing livestock, and forcing Israelites to hide, leading to severe famine. They later caused spiritual corruption by enticing Israelites into idolatry at Baal Peor, through Midianite women, prompting divine judgment and war ordered by God as described in the books of Judges and Numbers. So let's break this down. This right here, what the Midianites and the Amalekites were doing in this first section, this is just a result of being a nomadic group around other nomadic groups. This is more so giving tribalism, like everyday tribalism, than anything else. It's not personal. It's just, hey, this is a thing that goes back and forth between different tribes internationally, even like I can't really say this.
And again, the funny thing too is like just the way that like privilege and power operates, where again, like the perpetual victimhood, it goes really deep, because one of the things that even again, like y'all, a thing that again, I teach freshmen at a community college, right? Studying cultural anthropology, literally taking Anth 101, gang, the very, very basics, right? Is you talk about subsistence, right? You talk about the difference between pastoralism and agriculture and industrial, right? Like the very basics, right? Of like how people feed themselves and organize themselves, right? And one thing that just is part of just understanding the very, very basics is, pastoralists end up in land disputes. Yeah, nomadic pastor. When you're nomadic and you move from place to place and you don't have a land, right? Like, and you move, right? And you have to like negotiate a lot of times, like, because if you need access to land or you want to access to a land and it's where people are permanently settled, they're not going to just like let you roll up on their land and like use their resources. Now, sometimes things get worked out. Hey, we're just passing through and, could we, use your fresh water source, or you mind if we camp out here for a while we kind of get shit together, whatever. That might work out. But other times there might be conflict. That's everybody realizes that. That's part of the thing. And if you really look at the stories, again, the Midianites allied with the Amalekites oppressed Israel by repeatedly invading, destroying crops, stealing livestock, forcing Israelites to hide, leading to severe famine. Right? It's obvious that that's what was going on here. Also interesting that they need their own state, they need their place. It's fine for their God to tell them to take other people's land. It's fine for their God to tell them, destroy those people, take all their stuff, whatever. And again, think about that. People don't even talk about that as being part of the theology, right? Part of what probably made this religion so successful amongst those people was because, again, if you're a nomadic pastoralist and it's very difficult for you to establish, your own place, because that's just not your subsistence mode, then it's really useful to have a God that tells you, hey, if anybody fucks with you, or if matter of fact, if I just decide I want you to have somebody's shit, then go ahead and take their shit. And so then when your people become known for their God kind of just tells them to take people's shit, or they roll around if you fuck with them, they're entitled to just destroy your entire fucking civilization, your entire fucking your way of life, then you don't welcome those people. You don't want them to fuck around. But just like modern day Christians, the Israelites come to fuck with you, and you say, you gonna learn today, not around here. And so you let the Israelites have it. Now, all of a sudden, that's justification for the Israelites to just wipe you all the way out. But the way we tell the story, because it's always told from the perspective of, the religion that's trying to uphold their power, conveniently, they're always the victim. Conveniently, when their God tells them to genocide or wipe out an entire culture or people, that doesn't matter. That's divine. That's holy. But any of those people resisting them is justification for their annihilation. Funny how that works.
Because I'm not really paying, like, I'm not looking in those spheres. But anyway, like, this is not that bad. And yes, severe famine, that is quite serious, but also they're a new community. They are a new collective, a new independent collective. They probably didn't have sure, they knew how to till and work and plant and harvest for the Egyptians. They didn't quite know how to do that for themselves in this new terrain. So yeah, the severe famine was probably going to be a byproduct of that. Here, though, is the real kicker, because the divine judgment did not come from just the everyday dealings. It came specifically because the men, how this is worded, is that the women were enticing the men towards a new religious background.
Yeah, I know for some of y'all can't read, so I'm trying to get some of it in there. But it basically says Midianite women prompting divine judgment. So yeah, it is. It's funny. It isn't even blamed on all of the fucking warring and conflict. It's literally blaming it on their women. Amazing.
In reality, the men had no self-control. They thought that those women were hot. Probably to get access to those women, they decided to enter into whatever religious practices those women had. And then instead of, within the story, because we're saying that all of this is like real, right? Like this is the word of God. So instead of being like, hey, men, have some self-control, you were all literally alive when we all just got out of Egypt. You all saw all of my miracles. We just got the 10 commandments. I told you about idol worship. I told you about not coveting somebody else's wife, which is once again property. I told you about all of these things. And this is what instead of punishing the men, he went for the women. Said, oh, this is all the women's fault. Rape culture. This is all the women's fault. So obviously, everybody either has to be died or raped. Everybody has to be killed or raped. Those are your only two options. What am I supposed to do? You guys were too hot. To which within this, then I was curious. I was like, okay, so then I would like to know what people's thoughts are on justifying this. Like people that have read the scripture, that are talking about it online or have talked about it online, that still believe in this. Like, that this is the word of God and this is good. What are your justifications for this? So I found this Reddit post and I think that it sums it up quite well. I'm just going to read this and this comment, and then we will have a discussion in the comment section.
Yeah, it is old school victim blaming AR. So the book basically saying the women raped themselves. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Also, just a quick side note, especially to all the white libs out there. Can you please acknowledge the double standards on YouTube? I noticed that on the left, people are always saying graped and deleted and pew-pews and all of this shit, right? And they're like eternally petrified that if we say rape, sexual assault, guns, okay, we're gonna get demonetized, our shit's gonna get pulled, the algorithm's gonna punish us, they're not gonna send our stuff out. Maybe you're right. But have you looked over on the right ever? Because number one, they're killing in the algorithm. They're killing it in the algorithm. Their channels are way bigger, way more monetization, way more ad revenue, the whole 9 yards. It's a whole elite fucking ecosystem over there. And on top of that, do you ever see them take those precautions? Again, white liberals, I need you to understand, the government is telling you what it thinks about you. It's telling you to your face you don't have the fucking same rights as conservatives. The conservative channels are like, look at my new ARs, look at my fucking M4, look at my fucking guns, look at my fucking bombs. Hey gang, we're gonna go and shoot some guns today. Look, we're just going in the backyard. Hopefully we don't kill anybody. We got some fruit. We got some fucking human dump. Oh man, this new automatic weapon, man, this thing fucking awesome, dog. And then your ass is over here like, well, I'm not sure we really want to talk about the pew-pews. I'm just saying, just an observation.
What makes Numbers 31, 17, and 18 at all okay? This is a commandment in the Old Testament permitting rape. 17, therefore kill every man among the little ones, and kill every woman that hath known man by lying.
Oh, AR, I wasn't even thinking about the fact that your shit said grape. I guess that is what prompted me to do that little fucking tangent, bro. I don't care about that. Yeah, no, I feel you in the comments. I know I'm saying for real, it's probably a thing. Like maybe we are like for real getting filtered based on those things. I'm just saying it speaks to a fucking double standard because the right definitely doesn't seem to do that. They definitely don't seem to care. It seems like they come on these platforms just to talk about and say those things. So yeah, I fucks with you, bro.
Lying with him. So basically, kill every person, man, woman, child, but only the women that are not virgins. Kill the mothers, anybody that is quote unquote untouched, pure, that is not that, you exterminate them immediately. But the women, children that have not known a man by lying with him, keep alive for yourselves. Take them for yourselves. Take the little girls, take the virgins, take them. They're yours now. And
Yeah. So that's what I mean. It's a weird thing because it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy after a while, right? If you tell yourself you have to censor yourself because it might affect your video, then the safest thing to do is to censor yourself so that you're eliminating that risk. And then, yeah, that creates a world where then you're censored. I thought about it today too when I was making my thumbnail, and that's why I left it as like, that's why I said, no, I'm not going to do that today. But yeah, it might kill the video. I mean, certainly don't have as many people watching as we normally do, but who knows? That could be anything, right? So Patty, that's part of my thing. So you said there's layers upon layers of double standards against people of color, women, etc. That's part of what my thing is, and I keep saying I want to do a stream, but there's just so much going on with me right now, and then there's lots of other things I want to stream about too. But I call that niggerification, and I know that term probably bothers people, but that's what I need people to understand about niggerification is it's important. What I'm saying about people on the left, and I think people see this with Renee Good and Alex Preddy, which is why it's really pressing for me to talk about it, and I need to get my shit together. But basically, that's exactly the point. The point is that the way the power structure is set up, it's set up to oppress particular groups. It's set up to oppress Native Americans, Black people, Latin American people, immigrants, poor people, whatever, right? But the reason I call it niggerification is because, the country has a particular history with specifically with anti-Black racism, right? And so what happens is when you move in solidarity with those marginalized groups, to the extent that you are willing to move with those groups in a way that threatens the power structure, you will be treated more aligned with those groups. Now, are you going to completely lose all your rights? No. Do you completely surrender all your privilege? No. Are you still, part of a different class in many ways or whatever it might be? Yeah, of course, right? Being a rich person who calls for, class consciousness and the end of capitalism isn't going to stop you from being a rich person and enjoying the fruits of being a rich person, right? But you're going to quickly realize you're going to be treated very differently than the rich people who are unabashedly holding up the status quo. So that's what that's about to me. Is so that's what I need people on the left to understand. It's like, yes, you have an identity a lot of times, especially as white people or whatever, that tells you you're part of that essentially dominant group. And to some extent you are. But again, to the extent that you want to move in solidarity with black and brown people, poor people, LGBTQ people, you are surrendering a certain amount of that privilege and the rights that go along with it. And that's what that's why I call that, because again, you can see that the way the government protects conservatives is very differently than the way it protects the Alex Prettys and the Renee Goods of the world.
Wonder why this entire book was used so effectively for the.
Also, quick point aligned with that. Again, think niggerification. Think about January 6th. When black people talk about January 6th, the only thing black people say is, if it were black people, there would be no January 6th. Because again, they would have shot us all the way down, right? So now think about how Renee Good gets shot just for pulling away from a cop. Allegedly, that's why they shot her. Who like, this fucking crazy. Even if that were the true story. Right. Alex Preddy gets shot, and justification is he brought a gun to a protest. They couldn't see it. He didn't pull it out. He didn't use it. Never put it in his hand, never reached for it. So he gets murdered, and the excuse is, well, he shouldn't have brought a gun to a protest. Right. But on January 6th, when the people doing the protesting were white, largely evangelical conservatives, it was assumed that they had so many guns that the police in the military should not fire on the crowd. Think about that. Protesting on the left, we still talking white people. We talking white people on both sides of the equation here. We talking white people on both sides of the equation. So race is no longer the difference maker. But on the left, nobody's even really showing guns, having guns, talking about guns, dealing with guns, none of that. But all of a sudden, having the gun on you legally is justification to kill you. You literally have the fucking head of the fucking Department of Justice come out and look you in the face and say, should have brought a sign, not a gun. But on the right, it's assumed that when they protest, and these motherfuckers are literally erecting a gallows, singing "Hang Mike Pence," shouting "Hang Mike Pence" while they're singing fucking Christian worship songs. But it's assumed they have so many guns that the police and military can't fire on the crowd. That's niggerification. That is niggerification. The way your white ass is gonna get a little taste, not the whole thing, but a little taste of that black experience when you move in solidarity with us. While the other side, they're the ones who get to fully enjoy the fruits of white privilege and patriarchy and Christian domination and all that, because they are moving in solidarity with the power structures rather than against them.
The mass grave of little enslaved girls, the Epstein Island. Like, this is a very effective. Oh my God, there's so much crusties on my eye. Okay, I got it, but like, why didn't you guys tell me? Actually, before we even get to that section, I do just want to break down the numbers really quick. This is a part of Numbers 31 in the section lovingly titled Dividing the Spoils. And these are the items that are considered the spoils of that that Moses and the other priests and that the did as the Lord commanded Moses.
Yeah, that'll show you the difference. That's crazy. Like, yeah, that's putting yourself in the middle of the system. I was also wanting to make a point about leadership too. I was talking to my students about this. Notice how in these major cities where the leadership is largely white, like Minneapolis, that when these type of things happen, the way the mayor and these people move is to restrain the fire of their own people. Right? Their first inclination is, hey, y'all, don't tear things up. Hey, y'all, don't interfere with ICE. Hey, y'all, keep it calm. Hey, y'all, nobody doing anything too crazy. And then what do they actually do? They don't put themselves in the middle of it. They don't put their people in the middle of it. They don't use the force that they actually command in the middle of it. Why? Because again, they have to protect their careers, and everybody knows it. They have to protect their ability, their ambitions. They have to protect their proximity to power. They got to make sure they don't do nothing that would jeopardize their political aspirations. So they tone police and they go in the manager mode, keeping everybody calm. Notice how in Newark, New Jersey, when shit was popping off at the facility in our backyard, the mayor got himself arrested. The New Jersey black councilwoman that went to inspect Delaney Hall facing 17 years in prison. And most New Jersey people are like, yup, that's how we get down in the brick city. That's how we get down in Newark. That's why they call us the New Jersey Devils. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding, but for real. They like, no, fuck around and find out. Notice how black leadership is demanded to put yourself into the situation. Put yourself between the invaders and your people. And people move right along. You know, yesterday, the mayor of Newark, New Jersey, and a black councilwoman were arrested. Next day, nothing. We move right on. Ain't nobody talking about no heroes and nothing. But white leaders come out, don't do shit, don't take on no political risk, don't do nothing but basically a strongly worded letter. And oh my God, such amazing leadership, such revolutionary influence, handling it all with so much grace, so much grace. Fuck out of here. I want to see people like the chief of police from Philadelphia, the black woman who's the chief of police of Philadelphia, who said, you fuck around and try that shit in Philly, you're going to have to go through our police department. I told my students, that's how I would handle it. If I was the mayor, I'd be like, you going to roll through Newark? And then you going, no. You're going to have to go through the Newark Police Department to get to the citizens. And they strapped too. How you want to do this? And that's how the woman in Philadelphia was talking. So just think about how black leadership demonstrates and is expected to really deal with resistance versus and to no applause, to minimal fanfare, and normally it ends their aspirations. It says they're too confrontational, too divisive, too hood, too street, too rough around the edges. So it typically kills their political ambitions. While white leaders refuse to insert themselves, and it maintains and elevates their ambitions. Y'all, we've been dealing with this forever. That's why we say, wake us up when y'all are serious. We see what's happening, but the reason we're acting so indifferent, wake us up when you're fucking serious, because it's always been this way.
So this is for all of those who fought in the battle. Here's the plunder. So that is 675,000 sheep. That is 72,000 cattle. That is 61,000 donkeys. And that is 32,000 women and girls who have not had sex with a man. So can you imagine how many people were murdered? Because, and I just want to, so Moses and Eleazar, there we go, the priest did as the Lord commanded Moses. This is the result of the Lord's commands. Now let's get to how people justify this. Annotation from the ESV Study Bible on Numbers 31:13 through 18. Moses' anger with his officers. Normally, in wars outside Canaan, the women were spared, but as these women were responsible, this was their fault. It was their fault that they were existing and practicing their own spirituality and being too hot. Ladies, it's your fault everybody died and that all the children got raped. For seducing the Israelites, they had to be killed. In addition, if every man among the little ones were killed, this would preclude the perpetuation of the Midianite people and eliminate the Midianites as a nation forever. Girls without sexual experience were not involved in the sin of Baal Peor, were allowed to live and marry Israelite warriors.
And there it is. That is Christianity being the religion of white supremacy in your face. It is. Think about it, gang. You would, if a mythology came from any other people, it never gets held in this much regard. Think about how most Americans talk about an Islamic State. Think about what most Americans think about an Islamic State. But for the sake of Christianity, you are allowed to read, not only allowed, you're demanded to read these monstrous stories. Again, they worship the monster. You are allowed to read these monstrous stories and just spin. Do the Donald Trump. Do the weave. You hit him with the weave. Well, normally God would spare the women, because normally when he sends his people to genocide and take a motherfucking nation out, okay, he's just gonna take out the fucking men of age, like. Let's not even have a fucking side conversation about how fucking adult men's bodies are always supposed to be sacrificed in war. Like we're just fucking born to just die on behalf of the fucking ethno states that like demanded of us. Get the fuck out of my face. That's why I'd be a treasonous motherfucker that ever try to draft my black ass. You're going to have a fucking problem on your hands. Will never fight for this fucking country or any other fucking country for that goddamn matter. But setting all that aside, normally God would just fuck up all the men and boys and call it a day. But since these bitches fucking seduced the Israelites, like she said, since they had all their attire fucked all the way up, since they were giving him the motherfucking signals, since they were showing him a little fucking leg. And that's cool, because everybody knows a story like that is fucked up, and they know exactly what the fuck it says. But again, when you are moving in solidarity with power, when you are moving on behalf of fucking Christianity, give me that spin, baby. Give me that fucking spin. And this is why Christians have no fucking morality, but nobody wants to get fucking for real about it and tell them. Y'all understand, I just don't fuck with people anymore. I don't have people in my life, so I don't have to fucking worry about this shit anymore. I cut out the Christians in my life. I told them to their face what it really is, so I know how they are. I know they don't give a fuck. I wish the rest of y'all would do the same thing, because then we could really fucking tell them what we really think, cut them out of our fucking lives, end this fucking Christianity shit and make the world a better place. But it's never going to happen, because motherfuckers want to stay in fucking relationship with these cultists. They have so much power, they have had since the fucking whole history of our country. So unless there is a serious mass movement where we're influencing the fucking normies and we're telling them, yo, this Christianity shit is not cute and we're not fucking playing this fucking game with y'all anymore, It just doesn't fucking matter.
Guys, see, it's all fine. This is what had to happen. Basically, the reason for this episode was the Midianites seducing the Israelites and leading them into sin. Once again, this is all a woman's fault. Always a woman's fault for just existing and men's utter lack of self-control. As judgment, God commands the Israelites to attack and kill those responsible. All the men were to be killed so that the Midianite nation would be wiped out for its sin. The young women in this passage were not responsible for the sin of the Midianites and were therefore spared to a life of living on the other side of a genocide and grape for the rest of their lives. However, since the men of their society were all to be killed, had they been left alone, it would have basically been a death sentence. So the Israelites were permitted to take them and integrate them into society. See, it was all for their good. It was all for their good. Now, see, we killed your mom. We killed your dad. We killed your brothers. Your older sister, I don't know. She's a little too hot. She's a little too hot. She probably laid with a man. We're going to kill her too. But you and your 5-year-old sister, you 7-year-old and you 5-year-old, you guys won the lottery because now you get to marry one of the people that killed your family and your community members. And listen, it would have been so much worse. It could have been so much worse. You could have been left out here. We could have left you out here to die. So, you're welcome. Of course, Epstein used the Bible. Of course. Of course, this is the foundation of the United States. And also, of course, people don't want to open their eyes to this. I recognize that it could be quite jarring. I recognize this. I also recognize that as somebody that grew up in the church, as somebody that was head over heel. Listen, I went to the retreats. I did Fine Arts Festival. If you know, you know. I went to nationals multiple times also. Yes, but also I am now a published writer. So like it all kind of checks. Anyway, I understand that this is hard. I understand that this is painful. I understand that watching the faith, the religion, the whatever terminology that you have. If you are thinking about it critically, I understand that this is a painful process, can be a painful process. You can make it out the other end of it, but I need us to think critically about this. I need this. I personally need this, and also if anything is going to change, we need to do this, especially Black people, We all need to, especially Black people. Those are all of my thoughts. Please leave yours in the comment section, have conversations with people. Please stay safe out there.
So yeah, it is a rape culture. It is to me it's like undeniable, and it's like again I really don't even care. Because again, like that, I want people to understand why I said I don't care. It's not that I don't care about sexual assault. It's not that I don't care about the victims. It's not that I don't care about women. What it is I don't hear what people are saying until y'all ready to move, until we're ready to do something about it, because it's always been this way. So when it's been this way literally for the whole time, when historically it's been this way since the founding of the religion, it's even probably way deeper than that, because it's historical. You know the reason you find all the fucked up fascism in the Judeo-Christian fucking spiritual religious tradition is because they picked and chose it from whatever fucking tradition they got before that, right? Like whatever fucking fucked up ass notions they were cherry picking from in the beginning. And then we see it throughout every single period in this country's history. And then we see it today with every single fucking issue across the board, y'all. They fucked us during the pandemic. Y'all still fucking with Christianity. Like, you see how racist the motherfuckers are. Y'all still fucking with Christianity. You see them continue to fucking persecute gay people. Y'all still with Christianity. Y'all see them remix it. Now they got trans people all the way fucked up. You're still fucking with Christianity. When is enough enough? I'm an evolutionary biologist. I can tell you right now, we know the religions aren't true. People don't understand this, but the religion game is already over. It's already over. Most of these religions are absolutely require a fucking God that created shit, created the universe, created the planet, most importantly, created life and created human beings. We already know that all of these things happen naturally. We already know that. This demonstrated fact. So then the question is, when is our culture gonna have the integrity to say truth matters? I'll tell you, when y'all are really, really willing to deal with white supremacy. Because until you're really, really willing to deal with white supremacy, then you'll understand that you can actually hang on to the truth and you can live in reality on reality's terms. But until then, you're going to keep privileging white lies and white delusion. So it's useless. It doesn't fucking matter. As long as the Christians keep whiting, it's all right because it's all white. So you have to really be willing to deal with that. You have to be able to say the truth matters, and I don't give a fuck what your skin color is. Okay, I get it. You're Christian. You were raised in the church. None of that fucking matters. The shit is not true. It's time to grow the fuck up. But when you're not willing to do that, you're just gonna be I don't know, singing songs at ICE and calling it revolution. But it's always been this way, gang. And let me ask y'all a few questions. You see what they did over the death of Renee Good. I don't know why they didn't do that when ICE was murdering black people or building a fucking alligator Alcatraz or snatching fucking Latino youth out of fucking daycares. Seems a little fucked up to me. Everybody only jumped into fucking action mode when the fucking white lady died. And the white guy, but nevertheless, they jumped into action. Y'all seen the Epstein files? Where's the action? Where's the storm in the Capitol now? Where's the protests? Where's the marches? Where's the calls for a general strike? Where are the calls to finally confront the rape culture in Christianity? Again, they're gonna tell us they're gonna pretend that true Christianity, the good, nice Christianity, is actually the solution to the cultural issues we're facing. They're gonna whitewash Christianity in front of your fucking face. And you're gonna let them. You're gonna let them because you're just so happy the good, nice ones have showed up. So that's why I don't fuck with y'all. That's why I don't fuck with people anymore. Y'all, people are just so profoundly and pathetically unserious that it's like I'm not lending my energy to motherfuckers. I know what's gonna happen. Not a goddamn thing. I already know what we're gonna do about it. Nothing. We're not gonna do anything. Nothing is going to change. And I got worse news for you. I got worse news for you. Even if everything you want to happen happens, it ain't gonna fucking matter. Go ahead, do a fucking general strike. Go for it. Vote straight blue all up and down the ballot. Make every fucking seat in the government flip from Republican to Democrat. Put the motherfucker that murdered Renee Good all the way under the jail for the rest of his life. Put the motherfucker that murdered Alex Preddy or all the motherfuckers involved under the jail for the rest of their lives. Hold every fucking billionaire, every fucking man, every fucking person in the Epstein files, hold every single one of them motherfuckers accountable. Put them all the way under the motherfucking prison forever. It is not going to matter. There will be new fucking Epstein class level fucking millionaire, billionaire predators sprang up overnight. They're probably already doing it. They've already probably fucking replaced his ass. They're just going to be careful. They're just going to be more careful, more technologically savvy and less difficult to catch. Maybe they'll just stick to victimizing other adults. Because we've basically shown that we definitely don't give a fuck about victims that are above the age of 18. So maybe the Epstein class really fucked up because they was fucking with them kids. All right. Round 2, no more children. What do you think's gonna fucking happen if there's a blue fucking tsunami in the fucking midterms? What the fuck do you actually think is going to change about this goddamn country? Not a goddamn thing. AIPAC going to be running the fucking United States of America is what's going to happen if there's a blue tsunami. If the fucking Democrats win up and down the valley. We going to become the United States of AIPAC. That's what the fuck's going to happen. Capitalism is going to continue to fucking fuck us all the way up. People are going to continue to not give a fuck about women being fucking victimized. The motherfuckers are going to, again, they're going to be in church the very next Sunday, worshiping the same goddamn monster, praising the same goddamn Jesus, back to the fucking status quo. They'll be so happy because then they'll be able to tell themselves, we did it. Look at us, we did it. We took ISIS funding and we held accountable all the fucking Epstein perps and we got Trump out of there. So they could go back to their posh fucking homes and we could go back to the fucking status quo. So we could go back to the way things were, you know, back to normal, where the worst of it was only happening to black and brown people and adult women who could be safely disregarded. Now they'll go back to the world where they're totally comfortable ignoring our fucking suffering, our economic plight. Because you have to deal with the fucking material realities of the culture. You have to deal with the motherfucking power structures that fucking oppress us. You have to deal with the motherfucking economic inequality. You have to change the fucking system. They just want to put a fucking Band-Aid on it so they can go back to pretending nothing's wrong. So they can go back to business as usual. So I'm telling you, like, people are profoundly fucking unserious. This isn't a fucking wake-up call for people. This is the fucking alarm going off and them wanting to hit the motherfucking snooze button and going back to sleep. I'm gonna hit y'all with some bonus content.
Hey y'all, so I feel kind of insane lately. A few years ago I heard about this thing called QAnon, looked into it, immediately started yelling all over the internet in these videos. Anybody would listen, being like, y'all seen this QAnon? That's the dumbest shit of all time. These lunatics believe there's some like global cabal of billionaire pedophiles. It's the dumbest shit I've heard. And turns out, so they were right. I mean, not about everything, you know, but enough. They were right about enough. And my question now is like, where are y'all? Why?
Yeah, but we don't, Patty. I'm with you. This could be the wake-up call. But see, that is the real lesson of history. It's, I forget who said it, but it's like Americans will always find a reason not to do the right thing. You have to understand that the system can't handle it. The system can't handle it. If we really went after, you got to, and see, the only thing that can make the system handle it is necessity. It's the mass movement of everybody. It's the everybody. It has to be the rising tide that lifts all ships. But we can't have an equal world where white people get to lie. When white lies are more important than black lives, that's the world we live in. White lies are more important than black lives. And you can't bring black lives up to parity with white lives while you're still privileging the white lies that oppress the black lives. Again, people always want to talk about truth and reconciliation, and they forget that the truth part comes before the reconciliation part. We can't do the reconciliation part without the truth part. And we can't do the truth part because if you do the truth part, it lays out the stakes and what reconciliation requires. I'll give you another example that weighs heavily on me. The idea of a land grant institution. Many of the colleges that are so famous in this country are the result of stolen land and you know terrible history that they profit from. So I remember, you know, because my time in higher education was Penn State, then Michigan State, and then the University of Minnesota. So they're all land grant or what they call land grab institutions. Really didn't hear. Now, do they celebrate being land grant institutions? Absolutely. So I knew Penn State was a land grant institution because, you know, a lot of them were founded in 1855. Then the land grant thing happened some years later. But they all hold that like very proud tradition. And so you kind of hear it, you kind of in your head, it's like, oh, because the story they tell you is that, you know, the state, you know, wanted to have the institutions to practically train its people. And so you feel like you're part of this tremendous legacy where, you know, the state granted the land to the university. And that's what built the institution. So that's the narrative at Penn State. That's the narrative at Michigan State. That's the narrative at the University of Minnesota. So I get to the University of Minnesota, though, and all of a sudden I'm seeing what they call land acknowledgement statements. They're on the website. They're in syllabuses. Sometimes they're read at the beginning of meetings. And they basically are statements where the university goes, we acknowledge that the land that the university sits on originally belonged to, you know, this tribe and that tribe and these peoples. They're all different, right? Because they're different parts of the country. And so they try to list accurately like the tribes, or at least the major tribes that, you know, inhabited the land that the university now has as property. Okay. And so I thought that was like super amazing at first. I was like, whoa, like the University of Minnesota, like y'all are so different. Like, you know, I never saw really like these land acknowledgement statements before. And I thought I was like really based. I was like, wow, that's super cool. But then after a while, I started asking myself certain questions like, well, what are you going to do about it? And I started to ask the very most basic question. Are you going to give the land back? Are you going to give the land back? And what you find that what they're going to do about it is most institutions across most of the country is nothing. Literally nothing. The University of Minnesota is considered an exceptional case, a leader in this, because they want to give back like a forest. Like there's a forest that they have access to. It's probably like, I don't know, it's under 5,000 acres. It's like 4,000 something acres. And they only want to give that back because it's literally a reservation. So they can't do anything with it because it's a reservation. It requires going through the legislature and all this shit to give it back. So they're trying to give it back, but even that. And again, it's such a small percentage of the land. It's like damn near nothing. And it's not the land that the actual campuses are on and all that shit. And then a lot of the land they've sold, so they can't. So that's another thing. The university say, well, they've sold the land, so they can't give it back. But the universities still have these like permanent endowment funds. In the case of University of Minnesota, it's like almost $1 billion. And again, most universities are not doing anything. What are they doing? They're doing the acknowledgement. Well, what do indigenous and Native American institutions want? What do Native scholars want? Land back, money back, power back. Every 5-year-old knows if you steal something and you say you're sorry, give it back. You have to give it back. If you don't give it back, your apology is fucking meaningless. So they want the fucking land back. Not gonna happen. They want the fucking money back. If you sold off the land and profited, that profit belongs to them. Or at least you should be engaging in some sort of meaningful profit sharing going forward as reparations, as a reparations effort. Not interested. Power back. They should be governing the university. They should be in charge of all the research that happens on their property. They should meaningfully be participating in co-governance with the university administration. Not interested. So what do they get? Land acknowledgement statements. A few sentences, maybe a paragraph. If they're lucky, it accurately names the correct tribes from the region. And in like one case, the university is considering returning a parcel of land that's actually a reservation that they can't use anyway. So this is what I mean. You can't have truth and reconciliation without truth. But you can't actually talk about the truth, because if you were to actually talk about the truth, it would totally transform the demands for the reconciliation. And since America is not ready to change the power structures, since we're not ready to really do the type of changing that results in a different material reality for oppressed people, we can't be honest about their oppression. We can't talk about the elephant in the room. We can't tell these people what's really going on, because again, then they would be making real demands.
I'm not getting dunked on. Y'all should be taking victory lap after victory lap right now. Like, me and people like me should be getting Vince Carter nuts in our face, Rucker Park level dunked on by y'all. But what, you just don't care because your boy Trump was implicated in it because you were wrong about that one part? Because you were kind of right about that part too. You always said Trump was the most important piece of the puzzle. You know, and I know this isn't what you meant. I know you thought he'd be like, you know, Chief Inspector Donnie Diddler Hunter or whatever.
Grape Con. I think we got to use that. I think we got to run with Grape Con. I think we need to use that, Native.
Instead of, you know, the diddler in chief, and that is pretty different, but still you were kind of right about that. I'm just saying, like, what you tell me the whole time, for you, Trump being the hero of the story was the most important part, because I would have thought it would have been all the sex crimes against minors. Like, that would have been the most important part for me, but I thought, so no, you thought, for you, it was never that kids were being preyed upon. It was that kids were being preyed upon specifically by liberal elites, right? And when you found out there was conservative elites doing it to you, now you're like, well, now I don't want to. Like, really? Like, so it was never about protecting kids. It was always about owning the libs. Like, I don't know how I'm surprised by that, but somehow, against all odds, like, I still am. Like, y'all don't even, I mean, dude, by the way, there's liberal diddlers too. Like, we can get them too. I'm saying, let's catch them all, fucking poke them on their asses. I'm just saying, like, the number of
But again, I would say to people like this is the difference, y'all. This is if you are genuinely surprised by that, I feel for you. But now you got to understand this is what the real ones have been trying to tell you. This is what the marginalized people have been trying to show you. Again, we just talked about it. Thomas Jefferson, known for raping a girl slave. Everybody still gotta suck him off as one of the founding fathers, one of the great big man geniuses of our fucking civilization. They didn't just rape our children. They raped them and took them from their parents and sold them. Raped them, took them from their parents and sold them. We've been telling you all the time. They don't even report when black girls go missing. They don't even cover it when black girls get victimized. Damn, Epstein thought so little of black women. He ain't even bothered to include black women. He ain't bothered to mess with black girls. Nobody even cares about their body. What's done. But again, look at what happens in the church. They never question the power and authority of the motherfucking church, knowing all the damn sex scandals. So this is what I'm saying, y'all. It's cool. If you were surprised, fine. But now listen to us, because we've been trying to tell you this is who they are. Again, they're the ones still telling women not to leave their husbands who raped them. They are the ones wanting to lower the age of consent. They are the ones trying to legalize child marriage. When you tell them, no, I do not think it is okay for a child to be having sex with an adult. And no, I do not think it is okay for an adult to marry a child. When you tell them that, again, I don't think it's okay for an adult to have sex with a child. And number two, I don't think it's okay for an adult to marry a child. They will look you in your white face like this. They'll just look at you like this. And they'll be like, you are violating my religious freedom. I repeat, you are violating my religious freedom. One more time for the people in the back. I, Christian white man, am telling you, you are violating my religious freedom. And you'll sit back like, wait, hold on a second. Hang on. I don't think, hang on a second. I think we got to clean out my ears a little bit here. I don't think, hang on, my ears must be fucked up today. Hang on, I don't think I heard you. Excuse me. All right, sorry, I had to clean my ears out real quick. Sorry, I know it's gross, gang. But I think you just said that not being able to have sex with a child and not being able to marry a child violates your religious freedom. Okay, that's exactly what I said. Yep, that's it. That's it right there. That's it right there. That's what I said. I said not being able to marry a child and not being able to have sex with a child violates my religious freedom. That's what I said. Okay? And you're surprised. You're surprised. You found out that the people who told you they didn't have a problem having sex with children were having sex with children, and you're surprised. And then you're surprised that people that told you they believe in a religion that allows them to marry and have sex with children are no longer upset when they find out that it's their people that are having sex with the children. All right.
People on the right wing, dude, who spent years being like, you know, oh, we got to protect these kids. Liberals are dangerous to kids. Nothing's more important than protecting these kids, who are now going on podcasts and calling into radio shows and stuff, being like, I mean, 15. that really even count? Is insane, dude. I want to know how many different, like, redneck good old boys in the past few months have gone out to the back of their big jacked up pickup truck under cover of darkness with a razor blade and bent down and started sadly scraping a kill your local pedophile bumper sticker off the back of it. It's like, what are y'all gonna do now? We gonna be team pedophile? You gonna get some pro pedophile merch? Who's gonna print that shit up? Good luck with that. I just don't understand. Like, dude, I don't get it. Y'all just had one of the craziest called shots of all time. And you can't even let yourselves, like, appreciate that you were right about so much of that just because you're incapable of admitting you were wrong about the Trump part. Like, dude, fuck him. He's a predator piece of shit who doesn't care about you. Like, if there's one thing we should all be able to agree on, is that this is bad. Many of the most rich and powerful people in the world are evil and out of control, and something needs to be done about it. I mean, for God's sake, if we can't agree on that, then, I mean, what? Like, where do we even go from here, man?
You go back to church. Honestly, you go back to church. I don't know. I'm sorry, most atheists. I know y'all are like, you know, you used to do the church thing, and then you stopped doing the church thing, and then you stopped even believing in God, and you know, now you sleep in on Sunday, and then, you know, you get up Sunday afternoon, you know, maybe watch some hot program or whatever, and then you just, you know, play some games, relax, you know, go on about your business and get ready to go to work on Monday morning. But you should go back to church. I don't know. I keep trying to tell y'all this. Go back to church. Go back to church. Because here's the logic. If you're not willing to actually oppose Christianity, if you're not willing to actually fight back against it, if you're not willing to tell motherfuckers Christianity is not true and it's also evil, and I'm not fucking around with that, and you're a grown ass person, I shouldn't have to tell you that a fucking Jew didn't die, stay dead for 3 days, and like magically save you for some fucking curse on the goddamn planet. If I have to explain that to you as a grown ass fucking human being, you are not functional enough to fucking participate in society. If y'all are not ready to end this Christianity shit for real, then you should just accept that Christianity is going to continue to dominate our lives, accept that motherfuckers are not going to be fit to serve office unless they're Christians, that most fucking people in this goddamn country don't think you're fit for a relationship or friendship or marriage and none of that shit if you're not a fucking Christian, that you don't deserve to have a fucking sense of community if you're not a fucking Christian. You get fucking discounts at the grocery store, the doctor's office, all that. You get a whole fucking network of fucking hookups if you happen to be a fucking Christian. None of that shit if you're fucking not. I'm just saying, at some point, just call it cultural Christianity, call it social Christianity, call it I can't get Christianity to fucking leave me alone, so I'm gonna just leave it alone, whatever, and then just take your ass back to church. That's my honest recommendation. Take your ass back to church. At least get the social benefits of, you know, being in community with the people that are in power. Because y'all apparently don't think that any of this is serious enough that we should address Christianity as the problem itself. So go back to church.
I love y'all. All right. YouTube, you know, one of the craziest things about this recent Epstein dump is that, like, this story more than most allows our media hellscape to cherry pick whatever truths they want to and run with any narrative at their discretion. Let me show you what I mean.
Like, take a look at this article from Breitbart, our old standby, with the headline, New Epstein Files include emails between LA Olympics leader Wasserman and Ghislaine Maxwell. So out of all the people included in this recent tranche of files that's been released pertaining to Epstein, Breitbart has chosen to focus on this guy, Wasserman. Why?
All right, I don't want to watch this. This is the rest of this is not the rest of it, but there's like capitalism, and then he comes back and talks about the rest of it. But it's just so funny that's y'all already know. I've been telling y'all, QAnon was right? It's just, but that shows you their culture, right? It's like I say about the left. These people, left and right, because let's face it, both spaces, again, in this country, they're dominated by white people. The real issue here is white supremacy and fucking capitalism and patriarchy and all that shit. And most white people are just allied with that status quo system. So they may have slightly different political inclinations or slightly different social values, but at the same time, they're all moving in the same way. And we know the right doesn't really give a fuck about marginalized people. And if you're not a fucking idiot, you also recognize the left doesn't give a fuck about marginalized people. So then why does either side bring up marginalized people or victimization or fucked up treatment of populations or whatever? It's to get at the other side. So the left only talks about racism and LGBTQ phobia and all of that shit. They only pretend to move in solidarity with marginalized people. They don't ever actually do it. They don't ever actually do it. Isn't it Black History Month? Look how much, go see how much Black history you see celebrated in the fucking atheist fucking space. See how much Black history is being celebrated in your fucking liberal political channels. Most of the motherfucking quote unquote liberals you fucking watch every goddamn day haven't even mentioned that is Black History Month. Oh, but wait till Pride Month comes around. Again, because motherfuckers love to pick and choose targets of their fucking performative fucking empathy. And if it can be LGBTQ people, which would allow it to not be Black people, then woo, they love it now. That's why that's part of the reason LGBTQ people are everybody's favorite new group to show up for us, because then you don't have to fucking advocate for Black people. Y'all think we stupid? Y'all think we don't see that shit? We're not dumb. I know you like to pretend we're dumb, but we're really not dumb. So that's just the fucking reality of the goddamn situation. So the left just uses marginalized people to shame its opponents, and the right does the same thing. So yes, the right pretended that they could paint the left as godless and the liberal elites and the powerful, and you know, everybody wants to pretend the billionaires are on the other side and the powerful corrupt people are on the other side. I don't know how they didn't realize everybody knows fucking power and corruption in this country always lean to the right, always lean towards fascism, capitalism, patriarchy, and white supremacy. I don't know what the fuck made them think that the Epstein class was going to be dominated by people on the left. Are there going to be some people on the left? Sure, but they're going to be people in the left who are, again, moving in proximity to those people upholding the status quo on the right. Noam Chomsky. you fucking fake ass, hypocrite ass motherfucker. It's so funny. Bill Gates, you fucking weirdo. Fucking weirdo motherfucker. A lot of them fucking weirdos. But anyway, yeah, so the right, of course the right didn't really give a fuck about pedophilia. Again, look at their fucking religion. They're all in a fucking cult where every time some fucking sex scandal involving children comes up, they stay in the fucking cult. They never call out the fact that their cult seriously has a fucking problem with goddamn abuse, particularly the abuse of children, particularly from the people in power. Because again, if they did that truth and reconciliation thing, they'd have to realize the truth. Oh shit, the truth is this is cultural. The truth is this is actually part of our faith tradition. The truth is this is baked in to our motherfucking sacred book. Again, their sacred book is a book that commands rape. It doesn't fucking just not fucking condemn it. God's like, no, you go do the grape thing to them. Go wipe those people out. It demands genocide. It's like, go genocide them. But while you're genociding them, keep the pure girls to yourself. Their savior, they literally celebrate the fact that their savior was born to a girl against her will. I don't why God couldn't choose a grown-ass woman. Don't ask me. Why God couldn't have a conversation with a grown-ass woman, show up with an angel, be like, hey, I'm God, and then use his God powers right there to change her heart. Hey, I'm God's angel. I got a proposition for you. God would really love his son to be you to be the vessel of the birth of his son. This son is going to be like the redeemer of the whole world. And then because it's an angel or because it's God, right? God could have magically changed her heart. And then all of a sudden she's like, oh my goodness, that sounds fucking wonderful, lovely. I've been wanting to have a child, and me and my husband have been struggling to fucking conceive. What a fucking blessing. What a goddamn coincidence. Let's rock and roll. That could have been God's plan. That could have been God's plan. Nah. God chose a fucking terrified, scared girl who absolutely was terrified, didn't want it to happen, had to be thinking about the fact that her husband, her betrothed, her fiance was probably going to fucking, leave her over this, maybe even hurt her over this. Who knows the type of shame and humiliation she was about to experience in her community. And literally the angel had to come to fucking comfort her. Again, why did the fucking angel come to fucking talk to her about it beforehand? Again, women are treated like property all throughout the fucking Bible. God even commands that a rape victim marry the rapist. So again, y'all, I just don't. This is why I don't care. This is why I don't care, because you have to. At some level, I'm a scientist. That's probably what it is. I'm a scientist, y'all. You know what scientists do? We make fucking predictions. That's what the fuck scientific theories are good for. They're good at making fucking predictions. So when you have a culture that allows motherfuckers to worship a rapey deity, and every fucking politician in our goddamn country has to take an oath of office. Think about it. Their oath to defend the Constitution, their oath to uphold our laws. They don't swear in on the Constitution. Why not put your hand on the Constitution and swear to uphold the Constitution? Why not take a book of statutes, even a fucking ceremonial book of statutes, a book of laws, and then take a fucking oath right on that bitch? Yes, I am placing my hand here on our book of laws as a symbolic gesture that I plan to uphold the law at all costs. Okay, boom, and we're done. That's great. No, they have to literally swear on the rapey God book. Yes, I swear on this rapey God book that I will defend the Constitution and the laws of the... You got me all the way fucked up. When you see how rapey this culture is, you expect rape. When you have a culture where these motherfuckers in Congress will tell you, there'd be motherfuckers in Congress telling your ass, yeah, we want to change the laws so that we can marry children. Yeah, we want to lower the age of consent. What seems to be the problem? Motherfucking congressional leaders say that shit in public where we can hear them on C-SPAN and shit. And now what? I'm supposed to be some kind of shocked and surprised that the rape of thousands of girls isn't a deal breaker for them? No, I'm not surprised at all. I'm not surprised at all. In science, we call this obviously fucking predictable. Doesn't take a fucking genius to figure. It doesn't take a motherfucking Charles Darwin to put the pieces together, if you know what I'm saying to you. It's pretty fucking obvious that this is what's going to happen. So again, until you're really for real, like actually willing to fucking deal with Christianity and end Christianity and all the other forms of fucking religious dominance, again, in a world where we have proof, we have scientific proof that we evolved and we were not created. We have scientific evidence that gods don't exist, at least not the way they've been conceptualized in these major faiths. We have scientific proof that none of these gods created us, and y'all still won't do anything about it. Won't tell these motherfuckers that the shit isn't true. All right, y'all, that's gonna do it for me. We chilling. I'm gonna be in the community live headquarters today. If y'all want to come hang out in a work adventure, I got some work to do, so I'm gonna be working for the next couple hours. But I'm gonna try to get my work done so I can stream the Super Bowl in there. So if y'all want to watch the Super Bowl with me, I don't even know when the game starts, but I'll try to stream it in work adventure. There's a link in the description. All right, y'all. We'll see you.